The Raised Between Cultures video and accompanying guidebook were created out of a collaboration between immigrant service agencies, school boards, community, government, and the University of Alberta. These partners came together to develop a resource that would inform the practices of early learning and care educators and professionals as they work with young immigrant and refugee children. In this video, we will explain the Raised Between Cultures model, a tool for understanding the migration realities and cultural experiences of immigrant and refugee children and families. Build your life without connections, knowledge of the language or culture, and faced with new ways of raising children? Immigrant and refugee families encounter this dilemma every day as they move to new cultural settings and are expected to let go of their cultural roots, identity, language, beliefs, and practices. It is possible to adapt to a new culture while maintaining connections to the heritage culture. Research shows that becoming bicultural is a developmental asset. Children who have a sense of belonging in both cultures grow up resilient and experience better social and emotional well-being.
One of the best advice about balancing the two cultures was when my dad told me, now you come to Canada, you can take the best out of your Kurdish culture and the best out of what you see in Canada and bring them together. We can take the valuables in both cultures, and that way you make up your own mini culture, and we just have such much more.
Shows the many layers that influence the development of young children who grow up in two or more cultural environments. This tool helps foster a more holistic view of the experiences of immigrant and refugee children and families. Acknowledge pre-migration experiences. Identify post-migration systemic barriers. Support family and community strengths. Establish connections between socialization environments. And determine outcomes together with families. Children's early experiences are rooted in the cultural worlds they live in. Culture is about different expressions of common life experiences. It shapes how people think, speak, eat, interact with others, raise children, and carry on with their daily lives.
Culture is not only one day to eat the food where we came from and wear the clothes we wear. The culture is how to maintain and how to do it, and your daily life included. So that's what we started to do it in the classroom. And a lot of parents, even who was not sure to use that stuff even to bring in the classroom or to the society, we show them, we say, that's who you are, and you can show the people, and you can use what you would like to use where you came from.
If we reveal culture, we can better understand the differing cultural perspectives of immigrant families. Behaviors that are considered appropriate in one culture may seem unusual when viewed through the lens of Western society. When we actively listen to and observe children, they will naturally reveal their cultural experiences through play and everyday activities. Every immigrant and refugee family has their own pre-migration story. Pre-migration experiences continue to influence parents and children after they settle into a new country.
I came to Canada from a region called Kurdistan in the north of Iraq, and by the time I came to Canada, I had survived 2 wars. Coming to Canada from a refugee camp, we were really looking to Canada as a new start, a hopeful start, a positive new beginning. And I remember when I was in Turkey, in the refugee camp, I would think of Canada like one of those happy Christmas movies where everything's so jolly and everything's so colorful and beautiful, and I just couldn't wait to get there. When we arrived, things were calm. We went to the reception house, we got our first apartment, things were calm. There wasn't bombing, we had a roof over our head, we had food to eat.
It is important to acknowledge and learn about each family's unique pre-migration experiences. Knowledge of these experiences can help better shape the support provided to both children and families. The first few years of resettling in a new country are particularly difficult, and most families experience a number of challenges like social isolation, exclusion, racism, and poverty.
Having my first baby, my child, it was different than the way my sister has in back home, because she has all her extended family, but I was in here only by me and my husband and my baby. So it was different, really. A lot of, where I came from, when somebody's having baby or a child, it's a kind of celebration, and even the village will help. But here, it was only us.
For many families, the new country will likely have different systems compared to the family's home country, like childcare, education, and healthcare. Navigating these new systems can be stressful, especially without knowing the language and the culture.
For families, navigating the school system really varies. Some families can adjust well, not very well, but can adjust well. But majority of the families are having many challenges. So for example, such things as filling out a field trip form that is in English. The parents have no idea what it's about and where to even sign and what they're signing their kids off to.
In Colombia, we don't need to send lunch. Kids receive lunch in the school. So when I moved, for the first weeks, the teacher kept sending me, "What happened with the lunch?" And I say, "What happened? I pay for that. Why she's asking one?" And I didn't really understand what it means. But then after a week, I went to the school and she said, "You need to send the snack and lunch." So my children for a week were without lunch. And the teacher was thinking I was neglecting them. And I was thinking, well, that teacher is crazy. I already pay.
Western culture is totally different from Eastern culture. Parenting, different. Most of Chinese family, they focus on that academic. They never think play is good, and the kids can learn from play.
It is important to educate yourself about potential post-migration barriers that immigrant and refugee families might face. Resources such as family liaisons and cultural brokers can help you identify post-migration barriers and advise you on how to best address them. There are many assets inherent to immigrant and refugee families and communities that can positively contribute to children's development. These strengths include resilience, community connections, extended family, cultural knowledge, and first language. For children who are raised between cultures, speaking their first language contributes to a sense of belonging in their community. First language helps children communicate and bond with parents, grandparents, and extended family.
Okay, ready? Are you pushing? Pull,
It's very important to tap into those strengths, to make sure that those strengths are recognized so the child knows that just because my mom doesn't speak English, it doesn't mean that she doesn't have anything to offer. Your mom might speak 3 other languages, but English might not be one of them. So it also helps the child see their parents as role models rather than people who don't speak English, who have nothing to contribute.
شو اسم العربي كذا؟ الجزر. شو هاي؟
Mango.
أنت تحب المانجو؟
Yeah.
I see it as our role to make sure that those strengths are recognized and that we bring those strengths into the classroom so that the child can see that their parents are adding something to the classroom.
By taking the time to recognize, acknowledge, and support these strengths, you can help children thrive in both cultures. From a very young age, children develop a sense of bicultural identity based on the socialization they receive at home and in early learning and care settings. When children see their language and culture valued, not only at home but also in early learning and care environments, They feel a sense of pride in their home culture and a sense of belonging.
Yeah, we sing a song.
When children have an opportunity to participate in cultural activities that reflect their culture, they're excited. They have a sense of pride, and they're really willing to share that with their classmates or with their peers.
We know that environments should reflect a bit of what's happening at home and what it looks like and feels like at home.
We want them to feel comfortable. We want them to feel safe. Making those homeschool connections is how we build skills for children too, right? How we build and expand their language. So they may be experimenting with or pretending in a dramatic play place to be making samosas like mom does at home, so they can now do that at school. And we can talk about and build their language based on some of the experiences that they have.
Taking the time to establish connections between the children's home culture and early learning environments can help children transition more easily. This creates a space where all children can learn from each other's cultural experiences. Immigrant and refugee parents, like all parents, have hopes and dreams for their children. It is important to meet with families and learn about those hopes.
One of the things that we opened up one of our first family meetings was, what are your hopes and dreams for your child? What gives you joy? Because often, we focus on, what's hard and what's negative about parenting. So we started with that and actually got more information about parents and had some more close connections.
It was a way to really make parents feel like they have a voice, that we're in this together, and that's part of our job, is to support you and support your child.
Understanding each family's cultural practices while sharing the expectations of the new culture is essential to helping children and families experience positive outcomes in both cultures.
It's important to really know the family and create a profile of the family, to understand the pre-immigration process, to understand the language and the culture, so the children will feel proud of who they are and who the family is.
It really comes down to intentionally honoring, learning, and appreciating multiple perspectives. To honor the stories that children and families come with, to honor their customs. It allows us an opportunity to learn and appreciate one another, gain that deeper perspective of their culture, but also to recognize that we all have culture.
The Raised Between Cultures model is a tool for creating learning and play spaces that honor children's cultural experiences. We invite you to use this model to reflect upon your work with immigrant and refugee children and families, to ask questions, discuss your practices with colleagues, and to help create intercultural experiences for all children.